Boom! We're back, and we have a no-gi roll with the famous PHILLIP, the IBJJF purple belt, versus Tony, a black belt and professor at our gym. Remember, if you want to get some awesome gear, check out my link in the description below so you can get gear at a discount from xmartial.com. Now, we're doing a rolling video today because I need extra time to finish up the editing on the final tournament video. PHILLIP has decided to start on top of Tony, and Tony is looking for deep half, but there's a big problem right now. Tony's head is very far from PHILLIP's hip, making it difficult to use your hips to rotate and get underneath them from the deep half position. You would think for being Brock's student for 10 plus years that he'd finally understand how to do deep half, but it doesn't look like he's quite there yet. Tony is able to start rotating his hips a little bit to help him from this kind of deep half position, but there's still a big gap between the head and the hip pocket. So Tony's going to take his head out of here and go towards the regular half guard for only a split second. Tony did some hand fighting, which let him use his right hand to go under PHILLIP's leg. This time he's returning to deep half, and he's doing a much better job about putting his head in the hip pocket. PHILLIP's trying to use his elbows to pry an opening here, but Tony's rotating on his hips, and he's looking to use the sweep from deep half. As Tony is rotating the hip over, we can see that PHILLIP's left leg is slightly compromised, but then Joe Dirt is able to free the leg over the head. As he does this, he's working back on top of Tony, but Tony's decided to wrestle up. Tony's using his right underhook to work up to the standing position, and now they're going to engage in some takedowns. Tony has this very interesting stance in the standing position where he likes to put his hands between his legs because he doesn't believe in offensive wrestling, only defensive wrestling. PHILLIP takes advantage of this and he goes for a single leg and he has his head on the inside. So Tony's quickly going under the chin and he grabs an underhook and he's looking for a guillotine to counter PHILLIP's movement. As they fall down, Tony quickly lets go of the guillotine because he's working reverse full Nelson. We can see it puts a lot of torque on PHILLIP's neck here, and it's really not that comfortable. However, Tony lets go of the lock too early as he's trying to go for the sweep. By letting go too early, this lets PHILLIP use his hands so he can easily post off the mat, and he's trying to stay on top of Tony. This doesn't bother Tony too much because he continues to turn into PHILLIP to establish his sweep and set up a lead. I'm sure that by calling this a sweep, I've summoned some Jiu-Jitsu ref to tell me this is actually a reversal, but I'm going to call it a sweep anyway. Now Tony's working on top and he has the bonus head control on PHILLIP, and this is great for keeping PHILLIP pinned on his back. Now, generally with people that I have on the channel, they don't look at the camera too much, but PHILLIP is going to blow my cover and he makes some faces for the audience, revealing that this is actually a BJJ game show. He makes some nice faces for the camera until he gets back into the roll because he remembers that Tony's on top of him and Tony wants to hurt him. Now for my question of the day, my question is, what do you guys think of the tournament series that I've made? There's one part left and I'm also planning to combine all of them into one big video at the end, but I want to know what you guys think about the tournament series so far. Make sure to comment it below. Tony is able to pass this guard because he's been splitting the hips of PHILLIP, but as he goes to pass, PHILLIP is getting up onto his knees and he's looking for a single leg, and then Tony's going to counter with a Kimura, putting us in Kimura time because this is going to be quite the battle between these two and this Kimura. Now, if you ever train at our gym under Brock, everybody knows how to do a Kimura and everybody has a different way of doing it. Tony right here is doing some excellent control by having his right foot on the hip and he has his left leg on the inside to control PHILLIP's posture. Then he's able to start rotating it out to the side as he's looking to finish this Kimura, but PHILLIP's doing a nice job pulling his arm in, not to give him that 90-degree bend. PHILLIP is able to get to his knees, and as he does this, Tony throws his leg over the head. From here, you can decide if you want to go for the armbar or the Kimura. Typically, I think you should stick with the Kimura because it's much better for control and you can still move around your opponent, whereas with the armbar, you're kind of locked to a few positions. Now, PHILLIP is again going to his knees, but this time, Tony's going for some high back control. He throws his legs in as he's looking to use some hooks to establish more control over PHILLIP, but he's really high in the head because he's still holding on to this Kimura. So this back control isn't necessarily the strongest, and as Tony goes out to his side to try and finish, PHILLIP is able to spin with him because of the loose back control. Now, Tony once again is throwing the leg over the head, and this time from the Kimura, he is going to think about transitioning towards the armbar. We can see here he switches his grip, and that's how PHILLIP becomes free from this Kimura. Now, PHILLIP is going to be rewarded by getting out of this Kimura, and he's going to land up on top, and he's going to end up in another Kimura. What a true blessing that was for him. Now, Tony grabs this Kimura and he's rotating his hips immediately to look for the sweep, but PHILLIP uses his cat-like reflexes to go on his knees, and then they end up in the standing position. From here, Brock is actually laughing in the background because Tony couldn't do anything against PHILLIP, and PHILLIP is immediately pressing into Tony. Tony, not being a slouch at wrestling defense, is quickly able to reverse the positions and he puts PHILLIP against the wall. Now, they're not going to stay on the wall too long because this is Jiu-Jitsu instead of MMA, so Tony's going to let go of him and they are going to recenter in the middle. Now that actually is a blessing for Phillip, because doing wall work against Tony when you are only a jiu-jitsu guy is not going to be fun. Tony starts trying to look for a little bit of a drag here, but again, he's only a wrestling defense kind of guy. He does not do much offense at all. You'd think for being an MMA fighter he'd have the full package, but it's actually Phillip that leads the wrestling offense. Now as he goes for his own shot, Tony is quick to check him with his hips, and then I'm sensing a bit of a trend here. He's able to grab the Kimura and is going to fall towards his back once again. With this Kimura, he's purely looking to sweep, and of course he could try and finish it once he sweeps, but the main goal is here is that he's pushing off against Phillip, and now he's in side control. But Phillip is quick to scoot back from this position and then wrap his legs around Tony to establish the full guard. That was a nice guard retention from Phillip, but it was also a great sweep from Tony. Now Tony would love to be able to pry this guard open, but Phillip is going to make it difficult for him because Phillip knows he doesn't want to be on his back. So he's getting up on his hip and he's trying to create some pressure against Tony so it's not a free pass for him. He's even going to do a very interesting technique. He puts his left elbow in against Tony's head and then he's going to try starting a fire. He's using his right hand to hit his left hand, and that's going to push his elbow into Tony's head. So I'm sure that feels great for Tony's head, constantly getting the elbow pushed into you, but then Tony's able to get out of this position, and now they're working on the inside ties, because having inside ties in guard is very important. We're even going to see here that Phillip is trying to draw a snow angel. He wants an angel to come down and save him from Tony's wrath, but unfortunately I don't think that's going to happen for him today. Phillip realizes the angels aren't coming anytime soon, so instead he's trying to get some hand control and then he's going to set up his own sweep attempt. From here, Phillip is looking to use a hip in sweep. He does a nice bump into Tony, but Tony does a better job by sprawling out with his legs, and then he grabs control over the hips, so Phillip has to return to guard knowing that wasn't going to work for him. Now here's the secret about Tony. You'd think for an MMA fighter he'd always be in shape and have great cardio. Well, that's not true at all. He's in really bad cardio shape right now, and he's embracing the grind that he's going through with Phillip. Phillip is a mere purple belt, but he's making Tony look like a white belt after those Kimura attempts. They were all very deep, and he wasn't able to finish Phillip at all. So Tony's going to have to improve on his Kimura game and his deep half game from earlier if he wants to beat someone like Phillip. We can tell here that Tony's taking a bit of a rest in guard, but he is going to try and move a little bit because he wants to pass this guard. He's going to start trying to stand up, and as he stands up, Phillip quickly goes to the calves and he's shoving his hips forward because he wants to try and get a sweep on Tony. He can use this full guard to apply a lot of pressure to Tony's ribs and make him work a little bit. He's even trying to go under the leg, and he's going to try another hip in sweep before the round ends. So this brings us to the end of the round, and both men did a great job. It was nice to see that Joe Dirt could defend so many of those Kimuras and Tony was left useless on top. Don't forget that if you want to get some awesome gear, make sure to check out my link in the description because you can get gear from xmartial.com at a discount with my promo code, then you can look stylish like me. The last tournament video will be coming out soon, but thank you to all my current viewers and patrons. I appreciate all of you. Thanks for watching the video, and I hope everybody appreciated seeing Phillip destroy another black belt.